The year is 2025, a year that will be remembered in history as a turning point for our planet. The world watches in disbelief, eyes glued to screens, hearts heavy with dread as the reality of our situation sinks in. Satellite images paint a terrifying picture. The once stable ice sheets of Antarctica are disintegrating before our eyes. Antarctica, the frozen giant, is bleeding. It bleeds water, and with it, our hopes for a stable future. Trillions of tons of ice, once an eternal fixture, are now liquid. The unthinkable is happening. The ice that took millennia to form is vanishing in mere decades. Antarctica is melting, and it's melting fast. Faster than any of our worst predictions. This is not a slow, gradual process that scientists warned about. This is an accelerated, catastrophic event. This is an apocalyptic event. An event that could reshape our world in ways we can scarcely imagine. A sudden and complete meltdown. The ice sheets are collapsing, and with them, the delicate balance of our climate. The consequences are immediate and catastrophic. Coastal cities are flooding, and sea levels are rising at an unprecedented rate. Our planet is about to change forever. Weather patterns are shifting, and landscapes are being altered beyond recognition. The very survival of humankind hangs in the balance. Communities are in distress, and emergency response teams are stretched to their limits. This is not a disaster movie. This is our reality, unfolding in real time. It is a stark warning. A warning that we can no longer afford to ignore. A glimpse into a future we are creating with our inaction on climate change. A future that is bleak and uncertain. The time for denial is over. We can no longer turn a blind eye to the evidence before us. The time for action is now. We must come together as a global community to combat this crisis and work towards a sustainable future. Antarctica, a vast frozen wilderness at the bottom of the world. A continent twice the size of Australia, stretching over 14 million square kilometers. This immense landmass is buried under a 2-mile thick ice sheet, a frozen fortress of ancient ice. It holds 70% of the world's fresh water locked away as ice, a vital reservoir for our planet. For millennia, this frozen desert has played a crucial role in regulating Earth's climate, acting as a global thermostat. But now, the ice giant is stirring, awakening from its long slumber. Rising global temperatures, fueled by human activity and industrial pollution, have pushed the planet to a tipping point. The once stable ice sheets are disintegrating at an alarming rate. The consequences of this rapid melting are catastrophic. The initial meltwater flows into the Southern Ocean, altering its delicate balance. The ocean absorbs the excess heat, causing further disruptions in marine ecosystems. The delicate balance of the planet's climate system is disrupted, leading to unpredictable weather patterns and extreme events. There is no turning back. The frozen giant's awakening signals a new era of environmental challenges for humanity. The first signs of the impending disaster are subtle. Coastal cities experience higher tides. Low-lying areas report unusual flooding. These are just warning tremors. The real disaster unfolds quickly. As trillions of tons of meltwater pour into the oceans, sea levels begin to rise, not inches, but feet every hour. The world watches in horror as the water creeps higher. It engulfs beaches, promenades, and homes. Panic sets in. The initial wave of flooding is just the beginning. A domino effect of catastrophic proportions has been set in motion. The first 24 hours are chaos. Coastal cities around the world become death traps. Millions are trapped. Escape routes become impassable. Governments scramble to evacuate survivors. But the scale of the disaster is too vast. Resources are overwhelmed. The world grinds to a halt. Communication networks fail. Power grids collapse. Transportation systems are crippled. The fabric of civilization begins to unravel. The world is now a chaotic tapestry of survival and loss. The day ends with the grim realization. This is not a localized disaster, but a global catastrophe. The world will never be the same. Section 5. A world reshaped. Days turn into weeks. The relentless rise of the seas continues. Coastlines are redrawn. Entire countries disappear beneath the waves. The Maldives, Bangladesh, the Netherlands, gone. Florida, a distant memory. San Francisco, a modern-day Atlantis. 1.5 billion people are displaced. Climate refugees flee inland, overwhelming relief efforts. Resources become scarce. Tensions flare. The social order begins to crumble. Humanity faces its greatest challenge. The world is no longer a collection of nations. It is a flooded planet, dotted with islands of survivors, all clinging to existence. Section 6. The Oceans Unleashed. The disruption of the planet's delicate climate system unleashes a new wave of horrors. Ocean currents, once predictable forces of nature, become erratic and unpredictable. Weather patterns go haywire. Superstorms, unlike anything in recorded history, batter coastal regions. Hurricanes become monstrous, their fury fueled by the warmer waters. Once fertile lands are now ravaged by winds and floods. Crops fail, famine spreads. The oceans, once a source of life and sustenance, have turned against humanity. They are a constant reminder of the fury unleashed by a planet out of balance. Section 7. Plagues of the past. As if rising seas and superstorms weren't enough, the melting ice unleashes a new threat: ancient viruses. Trapped for millennia in the permafrost, these pathogens are released into the environment. With no immunity to these ancient diseases, humanity is vulnerable. Pandemics sweep across the globe. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Medicine becomes scarce. Millions perish. The very air we breathe becomes a threat. The past has returned to haunt us, a chilling reminder of the unforeseen consequences of our actions. Section 8. A hotter, drier, angrier. Earth. Years pass. The initial chaos subsides, but the planet continues its transformation. Global temperatures soar. The ice caps, once a buffer against the sun's heat, are gone. The Earth is now a hothouse. Rainforests, once lush and vibrant, wither and die. Deserts expand, swallowing once fertile land. Droughts become the norm. Fresh water, now more precious than ever, becomes a source of conflict. The Earth is no longer the planet we once knew. It is a hostile, unforgiving world, shaped by the consequences of our actions. Section 9. Fight for survival. In this new dystopian world, survival is a daily struggle. Resources are scarce, and every day is a battle to find the essentials needed to live. Trust is a luxury few can afford. In a world where betrayal can mean death, people have become wary and isolated. Humanity, once united by a shared planet, is now fractured and fighting for survival. Communities that once thrived together are now divided, each struggling to protect their own. Wars erupt over dwindling resources. Water, food, and shelter have become the new currency, and people are willing to fight to the death to secure them. Borders are redrawn in blood. Nations have crumbled, and new territories are claimed through violence and conflict. The very values that once defined us, compassion, empathy, cooperation, are eroded by the constant struggle to survive. Desperation has turned neighbors into enemies. This is the future we have created. A world where the remnants of civilization are overshadowed by the chaos of survival. A future where the very survival of our species is at stake. Families huddle in makeshift shelters, clinging to the hope that they can make it through another day. But it is not too late. Amidst the despair, there are glimmers of hope. People are beginning to realize that unity is our only chance. We can still change course. Communities are coming together to rebuild, to restore what has been lost. We must act now, before the ice melts, before the seas rise, before our time runs out. The environmental crises we face are urgent and demand immediate action. The fate of humanity rests in our hands. It is up to us to choose cooperation over conflict, to rebuild a world where we can all thrive together.